second. There he goes.
Westbrook does a great job of one-handed, left-handed pass. Works on his side. He doesn't leave.
Trent Jr. has checked in. Warriors stay with the same 5 starters. And then Steph Curry hitting the wing jumper. Dropping in that 3. Oh, Curry, a little split. Steph through it. Steph with the lift. So Steph Curry, beautiful beginning. And turnover. Pointer down. Free throw is a 3-point play. Curry right down the lane. How about that?
What up, everybody? Tony Jigsaw Cutillo here. Fantasy Firebox. It's Saturday. You know what time it is. Every Saturday and Sunday here on Win Daily Sports. Follow us, windailysports.com. You see all the social media avenues, right? Just get in there, follow us, subscribe. You will not be sorry. People hitting every single day, having a little fun with the world of fantasy sports. And I am absolutely hyped up. And Adam, what's up, buddy? Good morning. Tony, big win last night. Absolutely. I know it's a fantasy show, but the Philly pride has got to come over me right now, man. What an unbelievable win last night. Nobody said it would be easy, right? Nobody said it would be easy. And before we get into the baseball talk right now, listen. I'm paying homage to my man Ray Allen, wearing the Sonics jersey today because, I got to watch Ray Allen, the highlights yesterday on the anniversary, the big shot with the Miami Heat. Unbelievable, one of the greatest shooters ever to don an NBA uniform. So I had to do that as well. But listen, Game 7, Hawks-Sixers, Sunday night. What better way than on a Father's Day to have basketball? So here's the best part. We have a beautiful Father's Day weekend. We have a ton of games today, big early and late game slate, which I love. So I can talk both of them today. And then tomorrow we have the baseball slate, and then we go into the NBA playoffs. So first thing I want to say is this has been absolutely electric to me. I say electric because I'm a very excitable kind of guy. You'll notice that in my energy levels. It's just who I am on a normal basis. And the Win Daily Sports team has been unbelievable. The followers have been unreal. This is something I've always wanted to do on this kind of format. And now, good shout out to my man Jason for allowing me to do that and bring you this content right here. So let's talk about baseball. And I love today's matchups. I was so excited trying to figure out what the cores were going to be. I was all over the place, right? Which is great. So we've been doing really well, seeing guys that are using methodologies of consistency, positive point production. You're going to hear that from me a lot. I talk about it a lot. I want guys who game the game are going to give you positive points and not go 0, 15, 0, 20. That's not the kind of builds that I do. Again, not like a parental advisory sticker here, but I want to say is I don't build lineups, right? What I do is I build players, and I allow you to take some of those players, put them in your lineup, and hopefully they allow you to catch. And I love the collaboration we get from the Win Daily Sports team because, we have so many people that follow us that get into the game, no disrespect to EA Sports, but what I'm saying is it's a collaborative effort in order for us to get into that big money matchup. So let's get right into it because there's a ton to talk about. Adam, real fast, he says, why are the Phillies on Peacock this weekend? It's crazy. Listen, you know what? it's all people to buy a product. It's all about money, right? It's all about the money grab. So they figure they give you a free play on Peacock, and then maybe you guys will subscribe to it for $5 or $6 a month. I did it, to be honest with you. I subscribed to Peacock because I am a wrestling fan, WWE wrestling fan, all indie wrestling. I wrote for wrestling for years, so I watch it, religiously. Shout out Virtuosa. I love Deonna Purrazzo. One of my favorite women wrestlers ever. But that's why they want to get you on Peacock. They want to get you on there because they want you to subscribe. So, unfortunately, Adam, that's the way you got to watch the games this weekend. So, if you're not streaming, I'm sorry, you're not going to be able to watch the games, right? Happy Saturday. Let's make some money. Absolutely. Check it in. Oh, Joe Madsen. Oh, look at that. New check-in. I love it. I see you were brewing your coffee this morning, seeing you on Twitter. So, cheers to that. I got my Yeti going, and we are ready. Yes, obviously. Let's make some money on this unbelievably gorgeous East Coast Saturday. I don't know where it is, where in your part of the territory, everybody watching, but for me, it is absolutely gorgeous. Oh, yeah, you got to add that Danish, and I'm a Danish guy. I don't know if everybody's a Danish guy, not a real big donut guy, but I'm a Danish guy. Obviously, by my build, you would tell I eat a lot. It is what it is. I try to cut back every now and then, but you throw an apple Danish my way, I'll tell you what, man, I'm not looking back. So let's get right into the baseball side, because I was banging out a bunch of banners for you guys. Getting it ready. You got the FFVPs, which I absolutely love. I hope you guys, again, fantasy Firebox value play. I hope you guys are liking that. I'm loving it. It's unique. And I'm telling you right now, nobody's doing it. Nobody. It is exclusive right here to the Fantasy Firebox on Win Daily Sports. Look around. You start seeing that pop up, you come tell Jigsaw, because guess what? They're haters, they're biters, they're copying, right? So we're doing something cool, right? We're doing something neat. It's a guy, again, here are the parameters. You got to get a guy under $3,000. It's a guy under $3,000 that you can find that's going to give you positive point production. The baseline is between 7 and 10. So if you're going to get a guy for $2,500 and he gives you 10 points, you're already cashing in because you are looking at the guys above, right? As long as your core is solid, as long as your aces are solid, that guy is not going to make or break you, but he will help you jump from place 8 to place first, right? I just said it backwards. To 8th place to 1st place. I don't know what the hell's wrong with me today. But so let's get right into the cores, the pitching matchups, and we're going to go right with the early game slate. I'll share the screen. Again, remember, this isn't the lineup. It's just an account I use to get these players in their proper formation for any new followers right now wondering why I'm doing what I'm doing. This is how we do it. So we're going to go right off the first slate, and this is the early games, right? You have 8 games. Now, I'm not even touching the John Lester game. I know everybody's but it's a 7-inning game. I'm not touching that at all. There were certain games that I liked. I liked the Toronto-Baltimore game. I like the Cleveland-Pittsburgh game. I honestly, I think it's a really good play for a couple bats. And I like the Minnesota-Texas game, and I like the Boston-Kansas City game. So there are kind of the 4 games that I kind of stuck with when I was doing my builds in the sense of my cores and my value plays. So let's go right off the bat, okay? Let's talk about arms, early aces, okay? And we're going to talk about Chris Bassitt. Now, I think obviously you guys can all agree that Chris Bassitt is probably the best arm on the early game slate. I don't trust Aaron Nola right now. I know I'm a Philly guy. San Francisco, no matter what they did last night, doesn't matter to me. San Francisco is the best team in baseball right now. How crazy is that under Gabe Kapler? But Aaron Nola is just too inconsistent for me. The ace of that staff is obviously Zach Wheeler. I know you New York guys. I want to thank you for the Mets fans out there for allowing us to get Zach Wheeler. I absolutely love it. I love the move when it happened. A couple people said, I'm not too sure. But listen, if he can stay healthy, he's really hitting his stride. He's in his prime years. Remember, guys like Roy Halladay did not start to show this kind of control until late in their career. So I'm not saying he's Roy Halladay, obviously. I'm just saying certain pitchers take 3 or 4 years to get over that health factor, get that consistency, and that's when they rock out. So I think that's where Zach Wheeler is right now. But Aaron Nola, for me, I can't trust him. I can't trust him. I really can't. So I'm not even looking at Aaron Nola. I'm going right to Chris Bassitt, who to me has been one of my favorite pitchers to start. He's been one of my favorite pitchers to start. He models consistency, right? And again, Oakland, they just breed pitchers, right? Now, I always go by these last 5 games. Sometimes I go 4, but if you look at it, I mean, listen, he had 1 game against Seattle. It's an aberration. We all know that, right? These happen to guys. Happens all every single pitcher is going to have that kind of game. So that was his game in the last 5. But the other 4, absolutely solid. Look at his pitch count. He's always above 85 to 90 pitches. He goes late in the games, doesn't walk a lot. I mean, look, even with that 3 against Kansas City on the 13th, you're talking only 1 walk per game. Give up a couple long balls, but the earned runs, besides that clunker on the first, he's 2 earned runs below. That's why he's at a low ERA. So I think you can trust Bassitt. Absolutely. And remember, I like to look at that lucky 13 number, right? So I try to do that. So, again, not really hit it last game. That's why it was only at 16, but there's your 6 Ks plus your 7 innings pitched. There's your 13, right? So there's your 9 plus your 9. There's your 18. 8 plus 7. There's your 15. So I'm always going, that lucky 13 number to me is what I look at when I look at these pitchers, because I don't care whatever combination it is, innings pitched plus strikeouts, got to give me 13 or higher, unless I have a hunch about that specific player and a matchup and going against a really bad offensive team, going up against a team that may be slumping or struggling. But for the most part, it's the lucky 13 that I really like to pick my pitchers with. Now, for the other arm, it could be a little surprise here. It could be, right? But I'm going a little, I don't know if we want to call him a sleeper or not, right? But Kolby Allard. And again, this is just pure number research. Okay, this is all this is. And I know a lot of people are going to look at this number and be like, 6,300, you know what? He's playing for Texas, not the greatest team. Listen, Minnesota has one of the highest swing and miss rates in all of Major League Baseball. They do have some bats on that team, which you're going to see in the core later, but they do have a lot of guys who swing and miss, right? I mean, just face it. Whether it be Kurloff, whether it be Donaldson, whether it be Nelson Cruz, these guys like to swing and miss. It's what they do. Kolby Allard has been really good over his last 3 starts, and again, I take this with a grain of salt, and this is only because I am not really ecstatic about these first game arms, except for Chris Bassitt, who I've been there. Nobody really stands out to me, right? Because I'm not sold on Aaron. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go sleeper here. I'm going to go low risk, high reward, really low value. All I want, listen, if I'm spending $6,300 for a pitcher, all I want is 5 to 6 innings. Okay, and he's giving you 5 innings the last 2, and give me 4 or 5 strikeouts, and he's giving you 10 over the past 2 games. 2 and 10 obviously is 5. So for me, there's my mark, right? There's my mark, and if he can get you a win, if he doesn't walk a lot of guys, right? And this is what you got to look at. He's not giving up a ton of walks. He's not giving up a ton of runs. There's 5 runs in 5 games. That's 1 run a game. That's why his ERA is 2.91. So to me, this is a really nice matchup. Nice matchup against the Minnesota Twins at home, right? In Arlington, at Texas, at home. So old school Arlington reference, you like that, right? But I like this matchup a lot for 6,300. I'm rolling with Kolby Allard today. He's one of my pitchers. I'm going to have him in one of my lineups. I think he could save you a ton of money. Listen, Kolby Allard, 6,300. Look at some. I mean, Domingo Germain. I'm not talking German because he's going up against Bassitt, so I'm not touching that. Pablo Lopez. I mean, think about it. If you pull up Pablo Lopez, if you look at his numbers, look, 18, 19, minus 2.7. Okay, so we had the big 31 and a 28 against Colorado and the Mets. But again, he's facing the Cubs team that's been pretty good. So, and 9,200. So for $3,000 less, you can almost emulate this same number. And that's what I'm looking at, right? That's what I'm looking at. So I'm not sold on Peterson and Lester because of the 7-inning game, right? Obviously, it's not Arrieta. Alex Wood doesn't get me enough strikeouts. So I'm going sleeper. I'm going Kolby Allard. Let's see what happens. Let's see if we can cash into that number, man. Listen, Adam second and Chris Bassitt. Exactly. He has been the model of consistency, Adam. And that's why he has been in my plays for probably, I would say, he's been my 2-star pitcher at least 3 times this year to start on a Monday in traditional fantasy, right? Because he just gets guys out and he's consistent. And the number's a little high today, but I don't mind paying the 10-3 number if I can start a guy like Alfred, Allard, not Alfred, but if I can start a guy like Colby Allard for $3,000 less. So that's what I'm rolling with right now. For my pitchers, I really, really like those guys right now. I like Bassitt, I like Allard. And this is the early game slate. So let's get to the early game core. Okay, so the early game core, this is what we all like. We like the core. We love and we feast on the core, right? So we're going Anthony Rizzo, Jorge Polanco, and Adolis Garcia. Now, let me tell you why. Okay, so again, I always do my core for a specific reason. And I don't like all power guys on my core. I like at least 1 or 2 power guys and one guy that does it all. And that's the way I do it. Now, in this lineup, and I should say in this core, I think I have 2 guys that do it all. I have a guy in Garcia, and I have a guy in Polanco playing in the same game, right? How interesting is that? Think about that, right? So you got 2 guys playing in the same game, okay? And again, there's a reason why. So for Minnesota, you basically have a bullpen guy, right? Randy Dobnak. Now, look at Dobnak's numbers. Look how many home runs he's given up over the past 3 games. Look at that. 6 home runs in 3 games. That's an average of 2 home runs per game. This is not a good pitcher, people. It's not. It's not a good pitcher. So, it's early. This is a 4:00 game, but right now he is slated to be the starter in this game. If that's the case, I'm jumping on some really good value on the Texas Ranger team. Okay, so that's why I'm going with Garcia as part of my core. Now, Adolis Garcia has been an absolute monster from all phases of the game. He really has. When you look at it, he gives you, when I say positive point production, he's consistently giving you points. That's what that means. Now, he's striking out. He's getting up to a couple times per game. He's getting to that free swinging, so to speak. That's why his average has dropped probably about 22 points over the past 3 weeks. But again, I'm looking at the hits. 1-1, 2-1, 2. He's always getting on base. Always, right? Not necessarily home runs, not necessarily extra base hits all the time, but he's getting on base and he's allowing himself to be scoring runs, right? Knocks and runs, scores and runs, which is usually going to give you a double-digit total. Now, he's only 2 double digits in the past 5 games. Obviously, that 3, 8, and 3, I'd like him to clean that up a little bit. But again, against a good pitching matchup today, I really like him to give me double-digit points because I am not worried that he's not going to at least get a couple hits. Or get a hit, score a run, RBI. I'm not worried about that. I know it's going to happen. I just think he's going to double up today against a really, really bad pitcher. So on the other end, right? Because obviously we already have Colby Allard in there as the pitcher, okay? Even though I told you Colby Allard, good. Listen, I like the matchup today, right? I really like the matchup today. Doesn't mean he's not, doesn't mean he's not giving up hits. He's 10 hits over the last 3 games. So he's at least giving up 3 or 4 hits a game, right? So he can be hit on. Obviously, that's why he's number 6,300. So that's why I'm going to go with a guy who's been pretty hot as of late, and that's Jorge Polanco. Okay, and the last 2 games, he's 38 points. I mean, he's 2 points away from giving you 20 points per game. And here's what I look at again, and everybody that follows me knows I look at this. Look at the number, 5,4,900. Okay, he gives you 24 points for 5,000, and his number dropped. His number dropped by $100, and he gives you 14 at 4,900. And what do? They put his number up only $100 to 5,000. I think it's another double-digit game today in a decent matchup. Again, Colby Allard is definitely my pitcher, but that doesn't mean you can't get a few hits and score a couple runs against him. And I think that has Jorge Polanco written all over it. He's a guy that can do it all. So I'm very happy with Jorge Polanco as part of my core. I'm happy with Garcia. And now let's get to the power guy. Let's get to the power guy. And that's my man, Mr. Anthony Rizzo. Okay? Now, Anthony Rizzo, I love starting him in really good matchups, right? Now, 2 home runs over the past 5 games. Okay, 2 double-digit point totals. This is a swing and miss guy, right? This is a swing and miss guy. And again, I know a lot of people pop in my deal. Joe, shout out Joe. I know he's going to listen later, and he's the one. DM'd me the other day and was like, yo, thank you for the consistency factor. I was always starting guys that are always, bombs away or nothing else, right? They're either a bomb or nothing, a bomb or nothing. So you can't start a bunch of just power guys because if they all strike out and miss, you're kind of screwed. Right. So in my core, I always just like to add one, possibly two, depending on the matchup. So today, my bomber is Anthony Rizzo. Okay. Anthony Rizzo, only 2 home runs in the past 5 games. I 100% believe Anthony Rizzo will be going long today. And the reason why is because of the matchup against Pablo Lopez. We already talked about it, right? But here's the thing. He's given up 4 home runs in 5 games, right? That's almost a home run a game. So I am very confident to think that this is a really good chance for Anthony Rizzo to at least go long once today. Okay, Pablo Lopez gives up runs 2, 4, 6, 10. He's given up at least 2 to 3 runs per game. He's given up a lot of hits. Right? Again, this is, to me, a matchup for Anthony Rizzo to exploit. And I think that's why I feel he's going to go long, and that's why he's in my core today. So that is my core for the early games. I'm going Rizzo, I'm going Polanco, and I'm going Garcia. Now, let's get to some value. I know you guys love the value plays. I know I love the value plays. That's what we talk about all the time. Let's go early value. And let's go JD Martinez, and we'll go Mondesi, and we'll go Hayes. Okay? The reason why, and again, all matchup conducive, right? So, JD Martinez, and I got these guys in here just specifically to show you why I like them. So, this is another good pitching matchup for me for JD Martinez. And JD Martinez hasn't hit a home run in a while. Okay, it's been since the 10th. It's almost going on, 10 games of where he hasn't gone long. And his number is been hovering around that. He dropped to 4,500 a few days ago. I jumped on him as a value play at 12. That's a no-brainer. Still under 5,000 to me. I think it's a no-brainer as well. JD Martinez is still giving you positive point production for a power hitter, right? He essentially is a power hitter who's hitting 308, right? That's a big deal. He actually has a multi-hit game over the past 2, but he's hit safely 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hit safely in the last 5, giving you positive point payout, right? So to me today with the matchup in Kansas City, and I'm going to show you why I picked that JD Martinez. I want to give you the actual stats. It's a Brad Keller effect, right? Brad Keller can be hit 6.14 ERA. I mean, come on. I mean, look at him. He's not been a model of consistency here. He's given up 16 hits over the last 2 games. If you add in the last 3, it's 23 hits. He's given up 14 earned runs, given up 2 home runs in the past 3 games, given up 3 home runs in the past 5. He is not a good pitcher, folks. Not a good pitcher. Okay, this is a really good time for JD Martinez to get out of that snide, get off the bench, and hit that home run today and give us that positive point production, that PPP, right? So I'm going in on JD Martinez at 4,900. I think it is an absolute no-brainer. I really do. So get him, in my opinion, get him in the lines today. Now, on the other end, right, is I love these back and forth, right? The back and forth games because, listen, Martin Perez isn't the model of consistency either, right? Martin Perez, he's given up 4 home runs in the past 2 games and given up 6 in the past 5. Look at the hits allowed, 6-6. Again, 18 hits in 3 games. And I'll tell you why that stat's important. Right? Because when we're talking about Mondesi, who has been an absolute stud over the past 5 games, look at these double-digit point totals, 20, 19. Okay, gets a 0 in Minnesota, but then he has a 24. His number is rising, people. His number is rising, and I still think he's a really good play at 4,400. He does multifunctional things, and here's the thing. He has 3 home runs in the past 3 games and has 4 home runs in the past 5. And what did I just tell you about Perez, who's given up 4 in 5, right? This is a perfect storm for Mondesi. It really is. So, I think he's tremendous value today, okay? I really do. I think he's tremendous value today. I don't think, listen, there's certain guys you're going to start at 5,000 and 5,200 that are not going to give you the numbers that Mondesi is going to give you today. I'll tell you, I ride him while he's hot. Okay, ride him while he's hot. Now, the other guy we like is Cabrian. I can't get away from Cabrian Hayes. Him and Brian Reynolds, it's back and forth for the Pittsburgh Pirates. I mean, these kids are killing it. So I like Cabrian Hayes today. Again, positive point production, no zeros in his book, right? He's hit safely 4 out of the last 5. He scores runs. He gets walks. He hasn't strikeouts, only 3 strikeouts in 5 games. That's a big deal for Cabrian Hayes. He's a young kid, right? Free swinger. He's batting .281. That's a really good sign for the Pittsburgh Pirates. So, again, today, look, again, I mean, this is simple, okay? And this, I think you guys are finally realizing how I do this, okay? I just look at the pitcher matchup, okay? I look at Quantrill and I say, okay, you know what? Okay, he got okay numbers, but again, he can be hit up against, right? And that's the biggest thing. He's not blowing anybody away, right? I mean, look at his strikeouts, 4.2, 1.54. That's nothing, right? I'm not worried about that. All this is specifically is knowing that it's a day game, a 4 o'clock game in Pittsburgh. Cabrian Hayes has been really hot since he's come back from injury. And at 4,500 to me, I just think for a positive point production guy, I think it's a no-brainer against a very lackluster pitching matchup. So I'm all in on Cabrian Hayes today at 4,500. He's one of my guys that I really like. Now let's get to, again, we're 26 minutes into this. Let's go into a little sleeper, right? So, I got these. We got the early core. We got the early aces. We got the early value. Let's see, late value. I got. Let me make sure I got this right here. So I got so many tabs for you guys. I want to make sure I get the right tabs up here. So let's go with the fantasy Firebox value play today. And we're going to go with that because, again, this is the early one, okay? This is the early one. Lance Lynn, yep, Lance Lynn, he's coming up, Adam. He's coming up when we talk late game slate. This is an early game slate. He's coming up. Hold your horses. Here he comes, I'm telling you. Listen, we've been having some really good fun with the Fantasy Firebox value play today. Really, really having some fun with this. Again, the parameters are, let's get a guy under $3,000, preferably about 2,500 to 2,700, who we think is going to give positive point production, who's going to be low risk, high reward. It could be the difference if you get the solid core and the right players, where you can actually get this guy to take you up a notch when it comes to cashing out, right? So today in the early slate, I'm going to go Tony Kemp. Now, before everybody's Tony Kemp, what are we talking about, right? I'm going to tell you guys, this is what I do. It's no secret, and I want you guys to learn from this too, okay? It's no secret here. What I do is I look at pitching matchups, and I look at guys who are on maybe like a hit streak. They're in a pretty good zone, and they're really below. And if I can get them that multiple positional eligibility, that's even huge. So we got Tony Kemp, who's eligible at second base and outfield for the Oakland Athletics. And this is what Tony Kemp's been able to do over the past 5 games: 18, 11, 7, 9, and 8, right? So even with these 3 games right here, right, you see he dropped 3,100, he drops to 28, 29. Then he goes to 31, and he drops to 26. Now he goes up to 27. So they're not even sure what to do with him, right? But what I could tell you is this guy has been pretty consistent. And when you could plug in a guy at $2,700 against Domingo Germán, who can give up some, he's going to give up some hits. He's going to give up some power swings. This is a game where I think not only is it going to be helpful for Tony Kemp to get on base with a hit, he's hit safely in 4 straight games, but he's going to score a couple runs today as well. So our baseline, again, 7 to 10 is our baseline for this player, for FFVP. It's 7 to 10. If we get above 10, tremendous. If we get below 7, you know what? It didn't work, but it didn't cost you anything, right? Because as long as guys like Polanco and Mondesi and Rizzo and maybe Cabrian Hayes, okay, are going to take JD Martinez if you put them in there. If they're all getting their positive point production the way they should, then Tony Kemp is going to give you that extra step to cash even higher. So today, fantasy for the early game slate. We're going to get to the late game slate in a minute. Early game slate today, FFVP, Fantasy Firebox Value Play, exclusively by Tony Jigsaw Cutillo. I do it every day on the weekends. It's right here on Win Daily Sports. During the week, Heat Ratio Sports, Fox Sports The Gambler, you name it, FFVP, you will see that going around. But it is the Fantasy Firebox Value Play of the day or night. So for the early game slate, check out my man, Tony Kemp. And let's see if we can get him to cash in. My man Joe's checking in. What's up, Joe? A little late, grinding it out this morning. Absolutely. 9:30, hit it up 9:30, Joe. I was like, you know what? Let me get this going. Again, I appreciate your help again with everything. Joe, you've been fantastic, man. I love going back and forth. I'm a full transparent guy. I think you're learning that. I am who I am. I don't change. I don't change whether it be on, if I ever get on Discord one day. I see the Tony for Discord 2021 going around. I think it's pretty funny. I will get on Discord, I promise. And again, for everybody listening, we have a tremendous Discord channel throughout Win Daily Sports. A lot of good insight, a lot of good tips. Check it out. I have to get on there. I do. I promise I'm going to get on there. But I love when people get in and we collaborate. And me and Joe have been collaborating for probably the past 2 weeks, which has been tremendous. I love it. Absolutely love it. I think it's a really good tool because, listen, you might take 1 or 2 or 3 of these guys, right, and say, you know what, I'm going to start 1, 2, 3 of these guys. And I'm going to throw them in with 3 or 4 of my guys. And before you know it, we get a nice collaboration and boom, we're cashing out, which is why I do this, which is why I enjoy doing it. And it's so much fun. Listen, it's 10 o'clock on a Saturday morning, right? It's 10 o'clock on a Saturday morning. And Joe, yes, consistency cashes out. We're going to bold that statement. Consistency cashes out. Again, you can't start all power guys like we talked about earlier. You just can't do it, right? You just can't do it. So let me look at this real fast, and I'm going to tell you this before we go and flip to the late game slate. One guy I want you guys to look at, and I do these, I do a bunch of different things, right? But I do these things where, I pick guys going long under 4,000, guys that are eligible to hit the long ball for under $4,000. For me, for the early game slate, I'm going to go with Josh Naylor. Okay? Josh Naylor to me, right now, Naylor, whatever you want to call him. I mean, you do it several different ways. I look at this. Josh Naylor hasn't hit a home run in a long time. And he is a power guy, right? He is a power guy. Now, you got to look at the matchup, right? You got to look at the matchup. This is key. This is who he's going up against, right? He's going up against Pittsburgh, and he's going up against Will Crowe. And look what Will Crowe's giving up with home runs. 2, 4, 5, 6 home runs in the last 5 games. You think that he's not susceptible to the long ball? And Josh Naylor for $3,700 could be that guy you throw in and able to get you that long ball to get you to double-digit points. So, again, he's just a guy. I like to throw a guy out there every now and then going long for under $4,000. And for me, going long for under $4,000 today is 100% Josh Naylor. Okay, I think he's absolutely going. I love it. Batting practice, but exactly. Beats balls awry, absolutely. And that's why I like these picks. Okay, that's why I like these picks. So we'll go back through these again. As we clean everything up, and we definitely will. But we're gonna go into the late game core. Okay, we're gonna let's flip the screen. Okay, we're gonna go to the late game core here, and we're gonna see what we got, because the late game is, to me, I think have better. They definitely have better arms. Okay, but I think you can get a lot of decent value. I have a lot of value picks in the late game slate. Obviously, 7:15. I was going to say tip off, but throw off, right? So 7:15 first pitch. We got 7 games, and let's go right into with the arms. Okay, let's go right into the arms because, listen, this is a Saturday. You don't want to hear me talk all goddamn day. We're already 35 minutes into this, so let's get into the early arms or late arms. I'm sorry. So let's get late aces, and we're going to go with Lance Lynn and Willie Peralta. Now, Willie Peralta, another sleeper. I gave you Colby Allen or Colby Allard in the first half. Okay, for the early game slate, an arm that I think could be sneakily good for the price. And now we're going to give you Willie Peralta. So I'll get into Lance Lynn first. We'll get into Lance Lynn first. So what we'll do is let's look at what Lance Lynn's been able. He's going up against a Houston team who may not have a couple guys, okay, specifically like Alex Bregman. But Lance Lynn's been very consistent. Okay, very, very consistent. And when you play on a good team that has a good offense, it obviously is a front runner to not only make the playoffs, but compete for a World Series. Lance Lynn has been every bit as advertised. Okay, every bit as advertised. Only one game under 6 innings. Okay, which was against Baltimore. Listen, never know. His pitch count was only 82. Could have been just that. It could have been a situation where you look at a game, it's 3-1. It's really hard to say, why he was pulled. Could have been a situation where they were trying to manufacture runs. His spot came up. It was early. Like, oh, you know what? We need to get a pinch hitter in for him just because we need to manufacture a run or two here, right? But the biggest thing about Lanston that I love is a 1.51 ERA. I mean, come on, 0.94. That's elite whip territory. 0.94. Okay, so Lance Lynn has been absolutely, positively consistent. And if you look at these points, even at 18-1, okay, I'm not going to complain about it, but he's always in the late 20s, the mid to late 20s, 23, 24 to 30. And I think this is another game like that for him today. He's always going late in games. He's striking out. Listen, 23 strikeouts in 3 games. I mean, he gives up some hits, but he's a ground ball pitcher. That's exactly what he is. So even though you see these hits grow up, I mean, they could have been they could have been seeing eye fastballs. They find the left and the right side of the field, against the shift, not against the shift. There's so many factors that go into this. The biggest thing is if you give up 4 hits and only 1 earned run, I'm not hating on it. Now, if he would have gave up 4 hits and gave up 6 earned runs, then we'd be talking about like his last game against Tampa Bay. He got hit up a little bit, right? 6 innings. He gave up 6 hits, but he gave up 3 runs. So 3 out of those hits, manufactured runs, and he had 3 walks. So not really like a Lance Lynn game. So I expect to really bounce back to those mid to late 20s. I think it's a no-brainer today. Like I said, against a Houston team that's actually reeling right now through injury. Now, here's the sleeper, Willie Peralta. Okay, I have it. You guys see right here. I have sleeper, right? That's for a reason. 100%. Yes. So Gomber has definitely been excellent in courts, and he was actually my number 3. Okay, you know what, Joe? Honestly, Gomber, and you'll see that. You'll see that because I was going to talk because of the Brewers. They have not been good offensively at all. Christian Yelich has been very lackluster at best, and Gomber has been very good. I think he's 4-1 over his last 5, right? Even though he's pitching at home, he's been really good at Coors, right? Really, really Coors. So, again, I like Gomber, but here's why I took Peralta as one of my aces. He's only $4,700, okay? Listen, again, this is just a straight gut feel. Straight gut feel. This is what this is. Okay. This is his first start. Okay. He was called up by the Tigers on Tuesday. He only had one inning of scoreless relief. Looked pretty decent. And now he's going up against the LA Angels team. Okay. Who hasn't been unbelievable. Okay. From the offense. I know you have Ohtani. I know you have Jarrett Walsh. Still not getting Mike Trout back, and Rendon still not having the year that we would all predict. But sometimes when you get your first start against a pitcher that nobody's seen, he's able to, he's able to bank on the surprise effect. That's what he's able to do. So these guys have not seen Willie. They have no idea what to expect from Willie. Obviously, they'll watch film of minor league starts, but they haven't seen him in his first time. So it's a 50-50 shot for your first start, right? So we watched this in Philly. We've seen guys like Spencer Howard, Cole Irwin. Cole Irwin, everybody's, Cole Irwin's the next Cole Hamels. All because he had 2 starts. He was a lefty. He was a jump baller, and he just caught the element of surprise to the opposing team until they got film on him. For me, this is where the element of surprise is going to pay off, in my opinion. I'm going. This isn't going to hurt me at all. I'm going to build our lineup today, and I'm going to have Willie Peralta at $4,700. Okay, because I think Willie Peralta is going to have a really decent day today for the Detroit Tigers. I don't expect him to win a ball game. I don't expect any of that, but I could definitely see a 7 to 8 strikeout day for Willie Peralta, going about 5 innings, giving you about 20 points of fantasy. And I'll tell you what, if we bang out this core and we get these values right, and we get Peralta with 20 points for 4,700, we're hitting cash all day, right? We're going to hit cash all day long. So I really like the Peralta play. I do. He's a sleeper. I don't think he can hurt you, but I really like the Peralta play. So I'm curious to see how many people will jump on that and get that play. So let's go into the late game core. So we got the early game core. We got the early value. Okay, here's our late core. So again, I went with 4 guys in the core today, and that's because I couldn't go. I couldn't help myself to choose between Cronenworth and Machado because I think they're both been doing really, really good things. So I couldn't find myself to displace one or the other, so I throw them both in my core. Okay, so again, a lot of this is based on consistency, not even against pitching matchups. It's honestly not. Okay, now, Ronald Acuna Jr. goes up against Adam Wainwright today in St. Louis. Now, Adam Wainwright, even though I think he's priced at $9,300 today, $9,300, right? So Wainwright's priced at $9,300, but Wainwright is known to give up a lot of hits. He does give up some runs. He's not the ace in the hole strikeout dominant pitcher he once was 5-6 years ago. So he can be hit on. He does win ball games. I get it, but Acuna's been on an absolute tear. Right? He's been on a tear. And there's a reason why he's one of the best young players in baseball, if not the best, right? Whether it be Tatis, whether it be Soto, a lot of names getting thrown around there, but Acuna is doing the best impersonation of that player he could be right now. And I'm going to jump on him today in my core. Look at these numbers, 17, 14, 17, 19. He has been the model of consistency again. He checks all the boxes. He steals bases. He walks. He scores runs. He hits home runs. Extra base hits, multi-game hits. I mean, you look at it right here, 3 hits, 2 hits. I mean, listen, this kid is doing everything. He really is. And on a Saturday night in Atlanta, weather's going to be nice against Wainwright, who's susceptible to the hit. I really like Acuna as leading my core. So that's my reasoning for putting Ronald Acuna into my core. Now, the second part of my core, Mookie Betts. Now, Mookie Betts has not been great, okay? He's been good, but he hasn't been great. And I know we're chasing points here and we're chasing money a little bit, but here's why here's my reasoning. Number one, it's a pitching matchup, right? So let's just pull up the pitching matchup, and I'll show you why I'm thinking what I'm thinking here, okay? I am not scared of Matt Peacock. Okay, no pun intended. I'm not scared of Matt Peacock. Okay, Matt Peacock, listen, every number you look is bad. Earned runs is bad. Home runs is bad. Walks is bad. Strikeouts suck. Okay, hits allowed is bad. Innings pitched is bad. They are all bad. Every single one of them. Okay, so what I would have to look at is what's going on the other side. And the LA Dodgers are in an absolute driver's seat right now. Even though they're playing in Arizona, I don't think it really matters. Okay, I don't know. It could be a Chris Taylor, it could be Justin Turner. There's so many different Max Muncy if he's healthy, right? There's so many different plays tonight that we could do. And me personally, because of the way we build our cores, I decided to go with Mookie Betts because I think he could do it all. And I think this is going to be one of those nights where we see Mookie Betts go 2 for 4, hit a home run or knock it a double, score a couple runs, couple RBI, steal a base. I think this is Mookie Betts territory to me. Okay, so that's why I have him in my core. And again, I'm going to bring him up too. This is another thing that I'm looking at. I'm looking at the number aspect, right? 6,200, 6,000, 6,200. I mean, listen, he's considerably priced. He could be a value play tonight because he's about $400 or $500 where he actually usually is priced. So, I think you got to jump on that with a good pitcher matchup, with a good price point. I think he's undoubtedly a perfect part of any core that we want to do. So, again, Acuna, Mookie Betts, and then we're going to go to San Diego Padres. And I'm going to tell you why. Okay, number one, I'm not a Manny Machado guy, right? Everybody knows that. Everybody who knows me knows I'm not a Manny Machado guy. But Manny Machado has finally been doing something that he hasn't done, and he didn't do in a little bit of a while, right? I wouldn't say a couple years, maybe like half a year, but he's finding his stride with his bat. And what I mean by that is he's not just going all power. He's getting to the point where he's getting back to those multi-hit games, taking the ball to all different avenues. And what I mean by that is left center, right center, down the line, right? Pulling the ball when he has to pull, opposite field when he has to move runners. He's doing it all for San Diego over the past week. So I really like what he's been able to do at the plate. And to get Manny Machado under 5,000 at 4,800 against a guy in Gutierrez who is going to leave a lot of balls over the plate and make a lot of mistakes, I think this is a great spot for Manny Machado at home. I really do. I would not be surprised. He only has one home run. It's 2 home runs over the past, 10 games? I'm not saying he's going to go long, but this is what I like. 3 doubles in the past 4 games, right? 2 multi-hit games in the past 3. I really like, look at the run scored. He's consistent. A model of consistency. Again, you could probably trademark that term throughout this whole episode. Model of consistency. Consistency cashes in, right? Consistency cashes in. So Manny Machado, to me today, is a great play for one of your core lineups. And his counterpart, okay, and Mr. Jay Cronenworth, who's actually more money. I mean, you're going to spend an extra $500 on Jake. But Jake has been really good too, right? Jake is another guy who does it all. Now, again, you look at this number and you're saying, you know what? Maybe I'll just go with Machado. I just think this is going to be a good game for San Diego in general. I do. I think they'll be able to hit up on Gutierrez. Gutierrez will get some strikeouts because he does have some really good heat. But I think this is a nice, probably a 6 to 8 hit game for the San Diego Padres. Not double-digit hits, but has 6 to 8. And I think if I get 4 out of those 8 from Cronenworth and Machado in part of my core, and we get Cronenworth on there and he gets a couple runs scored, because I think it's going to be a nice offensive production here for the San Diego Padres. I think in that perspective, I think we'll be good with the core. So let me say, so again, four guys on my core today. Let's see if we can hit. Again, Acuna, Betts, Cronenworth, Machado. Gave you the early arms. Let's go with some late value. Okay, let's go with some late value. Randy Arozarena, right? I'll tell you why he's late value to me. It's all about price point. Okay, that's all it is. Look, it's all about price point. He is under 5,000. And he's another, I'll call him 5-tool player. When he gets hot and he gets the right pitches, he is going to be really good. Here's a guy who was priced at almost high 6,000. I mean, at one point he was 5,900, right? As of 7 days ago, right? And now you get him at $1,000 less, and he's got 2 20-plus games out of the past 5 going up against Seattle. Going up against a really good pitching matchup in Fleming. Okay, you look at Josh Fleming's numbers, even though his ERA is pretty decent. Look at this core right here in the middle. Okay, look at this core: 5, 2, 7, 11 runs in a 3-game span. That means that Mr. Fleming, even though he did really good against Baltimore, okay, Mr. Fleming's not consistent. So for me, I'm sorry, I'm giving you the wrong guy here. I'm such an idiot. Logan Gilbert, right? Logan, I am all over the place. Okay, all over the place. And I'll tell you why I was bringing up Fleming's numbers. You're going to see for the FFVP in a minute because it has to do with Seattle. So let's flip the script here, okay? And let's look at Logan Gilbert. Okay, that's much better. Listen, I'm just looking at hits allowed. He gives up a decent amount of hits. I know there's two. We'll take that out of there. But listen, you're giving up basically a hit an inning. Okay, that's what he's been giving up in Logan Gilbert. He's not blowing people away. He does have 13 strikeouts, but he also had 7 strikeouts and 4 walks. So he's not an overpowering pitcher. So for me, I look at a guy like Arozarena and can say, you know what, he can do so many different things. And if I get a chance to get a guy after I do my core of under 5,000, it's like the JD Martinez effect in the early game slate. I think Arozarena is the same kind of play here for the late game slate. So, more value. How about CJ Cron? Okay, how about CJ Cron? He just went long again the other day, right? CJ Cron, how is he priced so low, right? Honestly, I don't understand because, again, we just talked about the Milwaukee factor. They're just, whether it be hitting or pitching, just not doing well. But look at CJ Cron. Come on, man. 16, 25, 10, 60. I mean, he's only has one single point output in the past 5 games. Just one. And here's the thing about CJ. He's not just hitting home runs 3 out of the last 5. He's got multi-hit games out of the last 2, right? This guy is seeing the ball very well. And for 4,300 in Coors Field, CJ Cron, you got to start him tonight. I'm sorry. He's the one guy I'm going to tell you got to start. You got to throw CJ Cron in the lineup for 4,300. I think you could have a field day of value with CJ Cron for 4,300. I think he can really help you. Just look at his numbers. It's just based on that specifically. I don't think there's another player that bodes better value on this slate, in my opinion, than DJ Cron. Now, let's get to the FFVP. Okay, so Fantasy Firebox value play of the night, right? And again, we do this all the time. We do different scenarios, right? And now you're going to see why I talked about Mr. Fleming instead of Mr. Gilbert when we were talking about Tampa Bay and Seattle. But FFVP is Ty France. Now, Ty France, to me, was one of the guys early on that I consistently started, because he was a low-budget guy and he was very consistent, okay? He was very, very, very consistent. But again, he went in a slump. Like, listen, players do that, right? So I just want to show you what I'm looking at, when I look at Ty France. Number 1, multi-position eligibility, first base and third base, okay, which is I absolutely love. $2,600, which that's in my wheelhouse. Absolutely love. But look at these games that he's had over the past 5. I mean, come on. I mean, we just looked at CJ Cron at 35 or at 4,300, having the same kind of same kind of positive point output. And now you're looking at a guy at 2,600 who's kind of having the same kind of deal. So I think this is a guy you absolutely jump on tonight. Okay, $2,600, he can make or break your cash out. He really could. So 15, 16, 9, 26, 11, a multi-hit games, 3. I mean, not just 2. He's giving you 3 out of 4. 3 out of 4 over the past 2 out of 5. I mean, 2 home runs out of the past 5. Right? He's got a double in 4 out of the past 5 games. That means he's giving you extra base hits consistently, right? So if you throw that home run in there against Tampa Bay, he's consistently giving you extra base hits over the past 5 games, right? So again, I think this is a no-brainer for me. I think there's no way we don't cash on our FFVP tonight. I don't. I love Ty France. I do. I love Ty France tonight. So I think for me, for my money, you got to start Ty France, right? You got to start Ty France. Got to throw him in there. So again, let's recap again, because we like to go an hour. We're already at 52 minutes here. Okay. And it's a Saturday. Okay. We're going to enjoy the weekend, Father's Day weekend. I will be back, even though it's Father's Day. We'll hit a little quick one tomorrow. I will do a quick one because, listen, got to keep it flowing, right? And it's Sixers Day for Philadelphia. So I need my Philadelphia fan. I know my boy Adam is in there. He's waiting for that Game 7 tomorrow night. So again, let's recap. and this will be easy. I think a lot of good value on this slate, whether it be early, late, as always for everybody. Going to pull some of this info in our see it. I wish I could be part of it, man. I do. I wish I could be part of it. I was trying to get on, but it's just a bad weekend. I had a ball on Sirius last weekend. Thought it was absolutely between Nick and Jason. It was a great time. See it. Me and you are going to get on together eventually because I'm going to be honest with you, bro. You're one of the smoothest talkers I've seen. Seriously, on the mic. You flow effortlessly. I love it. I think between my energy and your flow, I think we could have a really good combo talking DFS for real. So I appreciate that, brother, for real. So let's do this. I'm gonna go through everything I have so we can recap. Okay, let's go late aces. We got Lance Lynn, Willie Peralta, a $4,700 arm. Sleeper. I'm giving you a sleeper there, Willie Peralta. Let's see if it happens. We shall see. Late value, like we talked about, CJ Cron, 4,300. Randy Arozarena. Randy Arozarena. I love that name. Sounds like Ponderosa from back in the day. 4,900. I think that's a really good value. Our FFVP late is Mr. Ty France. Okay, and our late core is going to be Ronald Acuna, Mookie Betts, Jake Cronenworth, and Manny Machado, a 4-player core for your late game slate. Now let's look at the early core. We go Anthony Rizzo, Jorge Polanco, and Adolis Garcia. I think that's a really good early core. Gives you two guys that can do multi-dimensional things at the plate, and one, your power guy, Anthony Rizzo, who I think will go long today. Early value, JD Martinez, Mr. Mondesi, and Mr. Hayes. I think there's a tremendous value in these plays right here. It's something that I think you really guys have to look at. Pluck those guys when you're doing your lineups. Get one of those guys in there. I don't think you'll be disappointed at all. And then we have the FFVP early. The early FFVP of Tony Kemp. Yes, Tony Kemp. He's eligible at second base and outfield. And I'm telling you right now, I think we are going to be money on our FFVPs today, late and early. And let's not forget the early game arms, early game aces of Chris Bassitt and Colby Allard. Another intriguing arm in Allard at 6,700. I think he's a guy that can save you a ton of money for your lineups and give you some positive point production. So let's do this. As always, like I say, I had a blast. I love the Saturday morning slot. I absolutely do. I think it's been so much fun. Adam, as always, you're always there, bro, checking in. Adam, Joe, see you. Everybody checking into the show has been fantastic. What I will do, as always, for people that watch it later, make sure you check the lineups because you never know on the weekends. Guys do sit. We do these things early, so you have to be very cognizant of your lineups going into probably about a half hour before the game when they absolutely release all the names, especially in baseball. Such a long season, you just never know when guys are going to get a rest. So, as always, Tony Jigsaw Cutillo at Cutillo23 is where you can find me. I will get on Discord. I promise. Win Daily Sports, please. All social formats, whether it be Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, subscribe, follow the website, windailysports.com, doing so many tremendous things from NASCAR to PGA to basketball to baseball. I can't wait for football to be started, man. We have so much going on. Get in there. And again, here's the thing. The best part about Win Daily Sports, I tell you, there are no egos, man. I'm going to tell you that right now. Win Daily Sports is not full of egos. Okay, yes, there's a reason why guys post their winning numbers, right? Because everybody, listen, that's the name of the game. People want to win money, right? They want to win money. So, guys, it's not a bragging point. It's to show that they're proving to you that their methods do work 95, 96% of the time, right? So that's what they're trying to do. And that's what I love of it. They're very realistic, but they're also realistic inside the Discord chat, just like myself, when we suck, when maybe we picked the wrong guys, right? So you got to be, nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect. So you got to have fun with that too. So there's a great mixture. Everybody talks with one another. A nice big family in there. So join it up, DFS family inside Win Daily Sports. So as always, it's a Saturday, Father's Day weekend. Go out, enjoy yourself, enjoy some baseball, and let's cash. Let's get some FFVPs today. Let's get some value plays. Let's get some starters. Everybody stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll catch you next time.